Welcome again to another lecture where we are going to understand what is computer software, right? So computer software can be defined as a set of programs which are actually designed to perform some well-defined function. We are going to look at different types of softwares, right? And we are going to narrow down specifically to two types of softwares that most people use, and that is the system software, which is also known as operating system, and of course application software. We are going to look at computer software. So this is the other part of computer that is very, very important for us to understand. I think so far we have looked at the computer hardware in details, the various parts of the computer hardware. We have also gone ahead and looked at the network or computer network. Of course, we have also looked at some kind of security issues, and we have seen how to counter them. We have also delved to some point about social media platforms, and I requested people to have their LinkedIn. I know where I'm going to request it. So ensure you have that. Also, we created a blog. I've also shared a video showing you exactly what you should do, and I'd mentioned that at least we must have 10 posts minimum. That's why I've given you a lot of time. So go through the video, check of how we can, or you can create a blog, just a simple one, and then you share the link. Someone has already submitted, but there's only one post. So ensure that you do the right thing. So of course today we're going to look at computer software, and we are aware that a computer cannot operate without a software, right? So when talking about computer software, these are intangible parts of a computer. You will not be able to touch them, but you can interact with them. So we have different categories of computer software. We talk of system software or operating systems. We talk about programming softwares that are used to develop other programs or other applications. Also, we have application software, right? So we have different categories of softwares. But before that, what is a software? What is a software? So we have said that it is intangible. But a software is a set of instructions or programs that assist or control how hardware performs or manages the different parts of our hardware. So normally we develop softwares to achieve a particular or meet a particular objective. Like for example, if you go for a particular application program, there's a reason as to why you're going for it, and that's what you're going to look at. Also, if you're purchasing a particular operating system, you need to understand why do you need that particular operating system. Why should you go for a Windows-based operating system and not maybe an open source option? So the word software normally is abbreviated as shown. You will get it as SW or S/W. So as you have mentioned, it's a collection of instructions, right? Actually, it does a lot. We are going to see specifically what operating system does. Now, this particular diagram should guide us on how the software is very important. At the bottom, I believe you can see there's hardware. And as I had mentioned that software, or specifically the operating system, is tasked to control how hardware performs or work. So for us to be able to handle the hardware or understand how hardware works, we must have the operating system. And that's why even if after purchasing a particular computing device, you'll always be requested to install what? An OS if it doesn't have one. If you get good people, they'll always install for you the operating system. Why? Because you can't actually use a computing device without a software. Even your mobile phone, if the operating system is not functional, there's no need. You can't be able to use it. right? So the OS is very important. Remember the boot up process, the 6 stages. Yeah, we said that the third stage of the boot up process is loading the operating system, and the operating system actually handles all the tasks from stage 3 all the way to stage 6. And of course, we rarely interact with the operating system, and that's why we need application software. Yeah, so application softwares are end user programs that you interact with. Like for example, today we are going to see how to use Microsoft Word. That's an example of application software, right? So rarely will you crack your head on purchasing or actually understanding how operating system works. But for the application software, you'll always want to understand more, because you'll be using it to actually accomplish some given tasks. Like for example, if you want to design, you'll go for an Illustrator, for a Photoshop. Yeah, if you want to do some kind of editing or managing text, you'll go for word processors and so on. Yeah, so application software sits on top of what? Of an operating system. So without an operating system, you can't have your application software. Then the last layer of interaction is the user, yourself. Yeah, so mostly, as I'd mentioned, you will not need all the application softwares in this world, but you'll specifically budget or purchase some kind of application softwares in order to do it, to help you finish some given tasks. So this is a diagram that all of us need to understand, just the same way we had looked at how the processor function. You also need to understand that particular diagram. So we have said that hardware can only work if there's an operating system. Operating system is there so that you can be able to do it, to use the application software. So all these particular softwares that you're talking about, yeah, they make things easier for the user. Yeah, they make things easier for you. So we are supposed to understand how they work, the importance, and so on. Again, there's a breakdown of the different categories of softwares, as I've mentioned. Of course, we have two major categories. That is the system software and the application software. So normally the system software is referred to as the operating system, or normally you use the operating system. So that is the system software. But again, it also refers to the programming softwares. Yeah. So examples of programming softwares are like Java, right, PHP, and so on. Then you have the utility softwares. Remember when we are talking about the fourth stage, the fifth stage. It is the fourth stage of the boot up process. We talked about system utilities. Yeah. So these are the essential softwares that the system requires to maybe handle some given errors. We term them as the first aid kit tools, right? So with this kind of roadmap, so let's try to identify the different softwares in detail. So as I've mentioned, the system software, we refer to it as the operating systems. Of course, the operating systems requires the device drivers. Yeah. Now, device drivers are some kind of programs. Device drivers are some kind of programs that are required so that the devices attached to the computer are detected. Like for example, if you happen to purchase a given hardware, like let's say for example an external hard disk, yeah, it must have some kind of device drivers for it to be detected. Otherwise, in some cases, if those device drivers are not there, normally you get an error. Like for example, the device driver not found, or you can't actually see that particular device within your computer, right? Application programs, you're going to look at them. Examples are word processors, spreadsheets, name them, right? We also have programming, I've mentioned. Yeah. Programming software also, you can break them into different categories. Yeah, because we have the high-level programming softwares, the low-level programming softwares, and so on. Now, what are some of the features of a system software? Yeah, what makes it different from an application software? From the diagram, we could establish that it is close to the hardware. Yeah, so this is like the hardware cannot function without it. Yeah, so it's close to the system. Yeah, it should be fast in speed. Why? Since we need it to boot up very, very fast. Yeah, normally it's very, very fast. Yeah, so it is programmed in a way that it doesn't drag as like the application software. You will also be reminded that application software will keep on adding a lot of files every now and then. Yeah, so it will become bulky with time, but rarely will system software be bulky. Yeah, so normally it's smaller in size unless a major upgrade has been executed. Then we have difficulty to design. Yeah, now this is not for the normal user. You are not even supposed to understand how an operating system works behind the scene. Yeah, so we leave it for the technical guys to be able to give us maybe tell us where the error is. Yeah, the type of system software that is best for application programs, so on and so forth. Then we also have, of course, it's also difficult to understand. Yeah, it's less interactive. Yeah, the nature of an OS, it actually is very difficult to interact with it because you need to understand how it was developed in the first place. So rarely, it doesn't have. Of course, nowadays we have moved. There's some great steps towards development of system software. Sometimes back we used to have DOS. Yeah, so for you to be able to operate it, you have to have some set of command. But nowadays, at least, it is kind of interactive in a way that you have the graphical user interface that you can be able to shut down the computer, you can be able to do one or two things. I've mentioned about its size. Of course, the difficulty of system software keep on repeating itself. Yeah, it's very difficult in all angles. Of course, it's generally written in low-level languages. So I've mentioned that we have different categories of programming languages: high-level languages and low-level languages. Now, low-level languages are languages that almost computer can be able to understand. Yeah, like the machine languages. Yeah, so when you code a system software, you need to know how the mouse is actually structured to coordinate with what, with the operating system. Yeah, so in fact, we have very few programmers, or specific. We have a given group of programmers who can come up with this particular OS. So these are just a few features of system software. Of course, we haven't mentioned about the security aspect. Yeah, we have said that it also comes with some utilities that provides some kind of security features. Yeah, so those are some of the features of system software. Of course, we have example, yeah, of general computer software. We have database, device drivers, and so on. I think I've mentioned this. Of course, internet browsers falls under the application softwares. Email also falls under the application software. Again, any application that you'll find yourself using to achieve some kind of objective, that is an application software anyway. It's not a system software. Examples of operating system are as follows. We have the Mac OS, we have the Ubuntu Linux, we have Windows 7. Of course, these are obsolete, but they are examples of operating system. We have Windows 8, we have Windows 10. Yeah. When we're talking about networks, also we mentioned the network operating system. Yeah. So we can also include the network operating system because they are under the category of operating system. We had Windows Server 2012 and so on. Presentation softwares, these are application, programming softwares I've mentioned. We also have simulation softwares. So if you want to have a prototype of how a particular environment is to function, like for example, if you want to have a flight simulator, you can use the flight simulator program. We have spreadsheets, we have utility programs, I've already mentioned that, and of course we have word processor. So in our lesson, we are going to look into details about word processor, as one of the software that you're going to interact with. So always take note that operating system also is referred to as the system software. It is close to the hardware, and therefore it communicates with hardware and allows other programs to run on it. So these programs are the application softwares that we have mentioned. So you can see the diagram there showing some pictorial representation of the different OS. I hope you can name them. One is Windows, the other one is Ubuntu, that particular bird there. We have Android, and you have the Apple OS, and we have others. We have others. So we looked at the general features of a system software. We can go into details about them. So you are told that every desktop smartphone must include it, right? Must have it. It creates an interface. Remember the diagram that we first started with. It also provides the management of resources. So we're going to look at in details other functions of the OS, right? Of course, we can also separate the computer-based OS and also the mobile-based. So for mobile, you can have Android, iOS. You have the developers, examples of the developers who develop this particular OS. For the Windows operating system, we all know that these ones are from Microsoft. Of course, we have Unix. They are open source. We have Red Hat Linux, from Red Hat. These are freely available. Please take note. We have those particular open source softwares that you can freely download from the internet and use them. But we have proprietary software. Sorry, that word is bringing issues. Proprietary softwares that you have to pay or purchase some license, such as the Windows, so that you don't fall a victim of what? Of piracy. So there are those that are freely available, and there are those that are to be purchased. So don't say that Windows are freely available. No. But some of us, we are good at what? At cracking and using backdoors to have this particular softwares. Anyway, let's look at functions of the operating systems. This particular diagram shows the kind of functions that the OS performs. Number one, it goes without saying that it manages hardware resources. So the question is, what kind of hardware resources are they managing? It provides interface between user and machine. If you look at the diagram that we have already shared, you can see the kind of role it plays. So the user doesn't need to understand how the hardware actually function. So it is the operating system that handles all those particular tasks. Maybe we have these functions elaborated through text. So it also provides security. Remember, when you are logging into the machine, it is the operating system that established that particular a security mechanism for you to be able to do what? To enter your password and username, right? Of course, it also provides utility softwares for maintenance purposes. right? So self-heal in case there are some kind of a few errors that it can handle. And normally the operating system does that. So these are some of the major functions of the operating system that you need to take note of. Yeah, management of resources. Yeah, interface, security, and utility. Yeah, other additional. These are additional functions. We can have job accounting. Now, job accounting or accounting means keeping track or actually trying to understand what happened within that particular operating system. So it keeps tracks of time and resources used by various jobs. Jobs are kind of instructions sent to the processor. It also takes control over system performance. Yeah, it kind of logs. Yeah, when we talk about logs, we can have error logs, delay logs. Yeah, so all these log files are normally stored within the operating system. Like in case of a forensic, someone wants to establish, maybe you said that you had shut down your computer between this particular time. Yeah, they are going to look at this particular system performance, the error, the logs files, to see whether it is true that you did shut down the computer at the stated time. Of course, it also creates interaction between different or multiple operators. It could be operation from the hardware itself, operations from you, yeah, through instructions. Yeah, this is a repetition, like error detecting. Error detecting, we said that these are what utility softwares that does that, and of course it offers coordination between the different softwares that are installed in the computer. If you remember that the functions of the processor, right? One key thing that allows the processor actually to process the instructions is the what? The operating system. Yeah. So it tries to help the processor interpret, right, what has been sent to it. So it does a lot of things, compile those particular instructions and so on. What should you look for? Yeah, what should you look for when going for an operating system? Or what informs you of the choice of an operating system? One thing you need to take note of is the application that you want to use. Like for example, I can't bring or I can't use a Mac. If I'm using like for example some kind of Microsoft based applications, yeah, I can't go for a Mac OS. So we need to really know what are we going to use this particular OS for. So one, establish the application software that you are going to install. Again, what kind of hardware is going to sit or handle this particular operating system? Compatibility issues. Are they compatible? Remember, if I didn't tell you this, then I think I must have mentioned it within the tutorials. If you right click on my computer, you'll be able to see the various specifications of the computer. So it will enable you establish the kind of specifications of the hardware that you have, like the processor speed, the RAM that is installed there, right? The bus address, data path, and so on. Yeah. So we need to establish what kind of hardware does the operating system run on. Yeah. Compatibility issues, because if you bring a bulky or purchase a bulky OS, then your hardware doesn't have the right specification, chances are you will not even install it in the first place. Yeah, it is going to tell you hardware not or OS not supported. How quickly does the operating system run? Is it a server-based OS or is it a client-based OS? right? So for the server based, we'll know that server is a very dedicated computer. So chances are the operating system will be very active almost every time. But for the client operating system, mostly you will shut down the machine if you're not using it. So we need to establish whether it's a client operating system or server-based operating system that you're going to run. How easy is it going? How fast or how easy is it for you to handle that particular operating system? Is it something that you must learn first how to use before you purchase and install? Do you know how to install that? And I think this is related to the last point within the slide. Yeah, do you have the right technical knowledge or technical assistance for you to be able to use this particular operating system? Yeah, I have had some kind of request a number of times when people are migrating from Windows 7 to Windows 10. Yeah, so people had challenges. How do they configure their OS so that at least it provides the right working platform? So we need to have some kind of technical expertise or understanding of how this particular OS works. Again, sorry. Now, looking back at the kind of the operating system, we need to establish whether it's a network-based OS or a client-based OS. I think this is tied to the explanation that I had earlier. So if you're using or if you're setting up an office or a networked office, you can't invest only on the operating system for the clients. You also need to purchase operating system for the network to manage, for network to be able to manage the resources. Yeah. Of course, if it's a network, we need to establish whether it has strong multitasking capabilities so that users can access network resources without issues. Yeah. How reliable is the operating system? Again, we need to look at the user manual or the system documentation. Yeah, look at maybe the kind of issues that this particular OS has. Like for example, if you're going for a network operating system, yeah, this is not just a normal operating system. It is going to manage your network, and this network means your clients. So if your clients keep on complaining that they can't access some given resources because of the operating system, then there's a problem. So we need to see or understand how reliable this particular operating system is before actually embarking to use it. Of course, the cost factor comes into play. Yeah, you need to invest on this particular operating system. I've said there are those ones that are open source, there are those ones that you need to purchase. Yeah, and lastly, we have looked at the technicality. How easy do you have support online? If you have issues, are you able to call someone to be able to assist you? So those are a few choices of an operating system and what you should look for. Then let's look at the application software. Yeah, normally referred to as app. Yeah, apps. Yeah, so we have different applications, very many. We have mobile-based application software, a computer-based application software, right? They assist us users to achieve or accomplish some given tasks. Yeah. Sometimes you want maybe to design a simple, like for example, an image, yeah, or a website. Yeah. You realize that you need some specific application programs to help you do that particular task. Yeah. So rarely will you like just install applications within your computer without actually understanding the need of that particular application. Yeah. So like for example, why do you need a Photoshop if you are not using it? It is going to consume a lot of resources. So sometimes if you don't need an application, just remove it so that you make your computer a little bit perform a little bit faster than expected, right? I know most of us we have games, yeah, and these ones are the ones that occupies a lot of computer storage. Now, features of an application software. Just the same way we had looked at features of the OS, also the application softwares, they have their features. Of course, these ones are now closer to us. We interact with them on a daily basis, right? So they are closer to the user. Being closer to the user, they must be easy to understand. Again, if you have issues with understanding how to use it, you need to maybe look at some kind of tutorials on how you can use those particular application software. It's easy to design with the user in mind. Users can always tell you that, can I have this particular application to do this? Yeah, so they are very easy to. They are more interactive. Yeah, the graphical user interface. Yeah, you have the icons, you have everything is there, so you can interact with them very, very fast. They are slow in speed because of the interaction with the processor. Remember the stages through how the processor actually interacts with the application. Yeah, you are the user who interacts with this particular application software. So chances are you are going to be sending a lot of instructions to what? To the processor. So that means it will take time, yeah, for it to actually be maybe for the processor to open it at some point. Yeah, it will hang at some point. Yeah, based on how you interact with it. So we also have it is easy to understand. Of course, it is developed in a high-level language. Yeah, a language that a user can be able to understand. Yeah, so there are some kind of programming languages that are categorized as high-level languages that at least you as the user, as a layman, can be able to use. Now, we also have this particular issue of size. Yeah, so the more content you add to your application software, the bigger the size, and that will inform you on the kind of storage media to actually use. Yeah, so remember we talked about the various storage media. So you need to understand also, prior to having this particular application software, yeah, do you have enough storage area to be able to store all these particular files and documents? So these are some of the features of application software that you will be expected to understand. Examples, we have many. I mean, anything that you find yourself interacting with as a user, mostly to do some kind of task, that is just an application software. Yeah, payroll, like right now we are interacting via the web browser. Yeah, so almost everything application that you're using to achieve a particular objective, that could be an application. So we can't list them, all of them here. So those are just examples. Now, the widely used are the Microsoft-based applications, because rarely will you install an operating system without having these particular packages. So we have the spreadsheet. So if you want to know more about maybe how the financial data can be managed, how you can do some analysis, yeah, so Microsoft Excel is the right application to use. Yeah, of course it has its own features that we are not going to talk about right now. Yeah, okay, I'd captured some. Okay, they allows users to design graphs, do calculations, data analysis. I think I've already mentioned this. Yeah, I think also the good thing with the spreadsheet is that it has the formulas that allows you to quickly do what? Perform some calculations that you cannot maybe do on your own. Remember the arithmetic logic unit of the processor. So this one is what, or why the processor is actually powerful. And if there's one application that was the first one to be used, was the spreadsheet. Yeah, if you look at the history of application programs, Yeah, one of the application programs that actually was used for the very first time was the calc and the spreadsheets. Yeah. Another one is the database. Yeah, we have different categories of database. Of course, we have the Access, we have the Oracles, and so on. Yeah. So a database are normally used to help a user retrieve data, yeah, store data in some kind of manner. Yeah. It provides actually a way to arrange our data in some kind of way that we can always retrieve them whenever possible. So database are also application programs that we need to take note of. Presentation applications, of course, the one that I'm using is a PowerPoint. Yeah, so this one allows the users to create some presentation. Yeah, you can use this particular platform to interact with your audience. Yeah. Now here is where we are, and this is the application program that you're going to make use of for the next couple of weeks. Yeah. So we are going to look at word processors in detail. Yeah. From the OC, I've already shared the necessary links that will help you do that. Yeah. So word processors, as you can see the definition, right, allows you to manipulate text. You can add some images, apply some basic designs. We have two versions. Yeah, the one that you can access via Google is a Google app actually. They normally refer to it as Google Docs, right? And of course, we also have the one that is installed within your computer that doesn't require internet. That is the offline application. So we can go ahead and talk more about softwares in terms of application softwares, programming softwares, system softwares, and so on and so forth. So as we proceed with maybe engaging in computers, we are going to at least meet some of them in details.